good morning, everyone. So I'm really excited being here at the EMEC EXPO and have you all here in the room. So I'm talking about startups opportunity and investors dilemma. And we already had an event yesterday where we're sharing more thoughts and discussions with established banks, financial service industries, and also companies where they were or are for many years in business. But today, I'm really happy to see a lot of younger people, because today it's about startups companies. Startup companies are really exciting. So also looking at my own background, I'm now for 25 years plus in the industry and working with startups, working with younger people. And in the beginning, when I started that, I thought, okay, let's do it for 2-3 years and then I'll decide what to do next. But after 25 years, it's still so exciting that I continue to do, and I'm doing more and more of that. So it's super exciting. And I'm happy that you are here this morning to have also, or the opportunity to have more insights into what we're doing. When you talk about startups, usually it starts with just an idea. Ideas or prototypes comes next. Ideas is the first thing to do. I also have a lot of ideas. That's a big advantage for any startup, because you can start wherever you are, yeah, at any point in time, at any stage. And we see a lot of great ideas coming from universities. You don't have to be already in business. Start as early as possible. And great ideas can be anything. EMEC EXPO is focusing on technology, cybersecurity, but it can be anything. So technology is everywhere. And it doesn't have to be all the time the great idea that you say, no, that's not good enough for being a startup. It doesn't have to be all the time the next iPhone of the world. It can be really a small idea just to start with. And then you can develop over time. You can do more and more. But this is at least very easy to start with. That's here also a very bold statement from my side, and that's also referring to the title. So it's an opportunity for startups, but also a kind of dilemma for established companies. And why is it a dilemma for established companies? Also, you say, I'm looking into areas where we have already a lot of business, a lot of companies being active in the market. And if they think about new product services, then they usually have a dilemma. Yeah, they are not really able to think in the right direction. They have the fear to fail. They have an existing running business. So running a business and trading and identifying new opportunities is something different. And we have seen that many companies, established companies, big names of the industry, they fail to be innovative, to have new ideas, because they have a running business, and that's exactly your opportunity. If you start really small, yeah, even if you're at the university, you can start super small, and your advantage is you don't have history, you don't have existing clients, so nothing can go wrong. Just look forward. You don't have to deal with an existing business. That's creating more opportunities on your side. And this is the biggest fear for big companies. And this is what we call investors' dilemma. Kristen Clayton did spend a lot of time looking into. If you're interested, very interesting books to read about this topic, that he identified there's no competition in new ideas coming from more or less established companies, because they simply cannot do it. Yeah, they don't have the innovative thinking in their organization. This is where the younger people and the startups are really good at. As a startup, you also think, okay, what do I need to do all the things right? That's not important to do all things right from the very beginning. Yeah, take the risk to fail. If you fail, then you can learn quickly. you can learn quickly and do it better the next time. This is your advantage. The disadvantage for established companies, they have still here the fear to fail. And if you look here at the picture, just to illustrate what I mean is, if you have a development and you have here 3 options and 2 flops and 1 success story. If you look at the number 3, that's a success story. Failing quickly and learning quickly, becoming better and better. Yeah, and this is what companies are not able to do. But you as a startup, you can do that quite quickly. And this is the reason why startups are usually more successful on creating more new ideas for the market. And there are many, many examples where you have seen. And also, just looking at a very good example, thinking also a bit, let's say, outside the box. Later on, I will tell you that outside the box is not always good. But one of the biggest taxi companies in the world, they started to think about, yeah, do we need to have own cars? And no one said, running a taxi company with no cars, it's very difficult. But if you look at Uber, Uber is the biggest company in the world, being the biggest taxi company. So that's a new idea, but it's super difficult for established companies because they very often tend to say, no, that's not possible, it's not working. There's also a kind of challenge and risk attached to being a startup. There's a risk that many great ideas are there, but you need to get from an idea to a real product or a real service at some point. And this development from having the first idea to a real tangible product that you have an own business, that you have own revenues, own customers, that's a journey. You will figure out that there's a lot more beyond the idea you need to focus on. Just listing here a few things, you need to think about the customers, the market, the design, product development, software engineering. And then you say, I'm good at one thing, but I'm not good at all the topics. So think about who can help you, who can help you to support your idea, that you can still focus on what you're good at, basically. From Nexaya point of view, we have seen also a lot of challenges for startups, but this is what we do, and you can really work with the challenges. If you know your challenge, then you also can work on solutions. The challenges, it's just listing a few to give you an idea on what we're talking about. When you have an idea, prototyping and design, yeah, you say, I can do that. Sure, you can do it. And it's important that you have a good idea of what you want to achieve. But there's a lot more in terms of design. It's not only that it looks nice, that it is nicely designed. Design means also workflow, the structure behind, so back and front end. It's not only design, it's a lot more. You need to select the right partners. If you select the wrong partners, I mentioned that it's getting more complex over time, and you need to team up with either colleagues from the university, with other business partners, just to help you to team up. But you need to select the wrong partners, that they share your passion and your views. Innovation management is one thing where you say, I've never heard about it. Yeah? You know probably product management. You know that this is a structured approach to certain things. You have quality management. It's also another topic. And here innovation is something where you also need to build something beyond your first idea. What is coming next? So you need to build up a roadmap for your journey, that your product, your service can stay really exciting for the market over a longer period of time. The area of retail and sales is very often super underestimated from many startups. Underestimated in the way everyone knows, I want to sell my product or my service. I need customers. But very often they start way too late. Yeah, they have a real nice product. They have a real nice, what we call minimal viable product, so that is really tangible, that they can go to the market. But then all of a sudden they recognize, okay, where's my market? I don't have any customers. And then it takes some time to really find the customers and convince them. If there's competition, you need to fight against the competitors. So retail and sales start as early as possible to share your ideas with the partners, with the markets you're in. Go out to the market, talk about it. And don't be afraid that someone could steal your idea. Yeah, it's unique, you know what to achieve. It's not always easy to copy your idea. So yeah, stay with your idea and go out to the market and test it, validate it in the market as early as possible. And cash, obviously, it's important. I said, start small. Then when you start small with an idea, simply, there's no cash needed. But over time, if you expand your team, if you need to work on the product or the service, you need to have developers, you need to have some sort of design, you need cash, you need to have someone who's providing some liquidity that you can continue to focus on what you're doing. Also, at some point, you need to have a small office space or an open shared office or something like that. So there will be some costs with it. That's a very interesting slide. So that's one of my favorites. I'm talking about for a minute about this slide. So it is called that you have some sort of a bold word in your mind. It's called the Valley of Death. That's what you find also a lot of things in the internet to read more about if this is interesting. But what does it mean? For example, if you start with your first idea, that's basically the point here at the bottom. You start somewhere, and then here it's shown the complexity. You start very, very easy, and then over time, yeah, that's shown there. It's getting more and more complex, and you see this one. The first peak is the first prototype and the validation of your idea. That you go to some customers, that you run a test run with your product. Then up to that point, it's getting more complex because with the idea, you need to have some design and early product development ideas. You need to develop, you need coding. It takes some time. And then you're still super excited. You're full of energy to continue to work. But then this is a high peak. And then after that, there's usually an area where you're lacking support. There's no one around because it takes longer, it's getting more complex, and then also your colleagues maybe are not interested, not excited anymore like in the beginning. And then you're heading to the second peak, and this is the peak which is even higher, the go-to-market. That's an area where many great ideas simply disappear from the market. And when you look at the very bottom, you probably say, no, I've seen that, but I can manage. This is an average. You have usually in the beginning the so-called accelerators, if you know what an accelerator is. If not, accelerators usually help your ideas to prepare a business plan, to get a first framework for your idea and what it means in terms of your market, customers, so forth. But it's a business plan. It's usually a piece of paper. It's not really something tangible. And then after a while can mean a couple of weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4 months, or a bit more or less, they stop working with it. They don't continue. And then you have a gap before we see in early stage PE means that there's an investor coming and saying, I like your idea, I'm investing in you. Yeah? Because they say, can you show me some products? Do you have customers? In what markets are you operating? And then at that point, probably you don't have it. Yeah, you don't have any customers. You're not actively working in a market, and this is the area where you face a support gap. From Nexaya point of view, we're doing two things, and this is not only what we're doing. This is also what is relevant in all markets. It's not only relevant for startups, also for companies who are trying to reinvent something new or to implement new services and product in their organization. we can help with technology. So it's always the combination between Nexaya. You see it in the name of Alpina. I'll show you what Alpina means, but it's basically one activity from us, branded with the two logos. We help to bridge the gap. We help you with operational support, with really hands-on support and know-how. We support your idea with know-how, but also with capital. If you need capital, then we are happy to help you there. And then we're able to bridge the gap, but also what you can see, we are lowering the peaks. We are de-risking your idea to become successful. And that's a totally different story. Yeah, a venture capital fund is just providing capital, and they have no technology know-how. We have it. If it's Nexaya or someone else, please partner with someone who is able to help you in sharing your idea and sharing your passion. A venture capital fund very often is just sharing capital. That's one of the biggest challenges you probably have. You have a great idea, like you're standing here and having the javelin, and then you should answer yourself, how far should it go? The very important point is find the sweet spot. Yeah, if you want to create something new, it is not what I mentioned. Don't try to create a new iPhone of the world, because the new iPhone probably was a lucky thing. It will be the very far out here. It's out of scope, too difficult, too costly, it takes too long time. You should be quicker, yeah? But if you throw the javelin too short, then the market doesn't recognize your idea as being a new thing. Saying, it's a bit different to what we have seen, so, but I'm not super excited a bit about it. The sweet spot is what you can handle, yeah, with your know-how, with your energy, with your passion, with your friends and mates, with capital, yeah, and then it's important you can go quickly to the market, yeah, that's the aim, yeah. Try to make some money, but don't be super perfect at the beginning. Just do something where you say, that's a tangible product or service, and then you continue to develop. When you can earn money, you have less stress in capital constraints. Always remember, before you start, don't be unclear in what you're trying to achieve. Clarity is super important, and when you start something, be clear means defining the scope, what you're really trying to achieve. But defining what is in your scope, it's not always easy. It's also important that you define what is out of scope, so what you're not trying to achieve, what you do not in the beginning, what you're doing next. So then you can stay focused. Otherwise, you have the risk that it's drifting in terms of what you're doing, and it's a never-ending story. You're not getting anywhere. And then you're getting into this dip of the curve I showed earlier. Keep it simple. Complexity is easy, but simplicity is more important, because the simplicity is you can talk about it. Yeah? You can share your idea in 2 sentences. If it takes 15 minutes to explain what you're doing, it's way too long. It needs to be super simple. Everyone needs to be able to understand your idea. When you're at a coffee break here at the conference, yeah, try to do the short pitch. When you have clarity and simplicity, then reliability, you can do again and again what you've done. So it's a systematic approach. That's very important. That's one of my favorites I'm using for many years now. Try to remember that we also try from Nexaya to make the complex simple. In everything we're doing, we find complexity, but it's not key. This is a kind of ecosystem. You see here Nexaya logo and the Alpina logo, but that's what we're doing. So there's really anyone in the market who has this approach. That's a unique approach, but you can also create, if you want, your own ecosystem in the way. So basically, you're in the middle. You're then, if you have a great idea, in the middle of it. Try to find your right partners. Nexaya is doing, in many cases, technical support, know-how transfer. We help you to really technically develop something. Alpina has said it's part of our ecosystem. That's us. We're providing you also with capital, because capital and know-how, that's coming from one ecosystem. You don't have to explain to us why we're doing things. We know because we have the technical know-how. We have the understanding, but a venture capital fund who doesn't have technology know-how, you permanently have to explain, and this is taking time away. Also, network and partner. That's simply, you need cloud services, you need to have cybersecurity, you need to have a lot more other partners. You cannot do your own. And we help you to find the right partners to really tailor what you need and what you can do yourselves. And also when you develop a new product or new service, don't try to invent all. 100% development, that's not needed. Try to do, let's say, 80% taking what is already existing there. Yeah. And the 20%, that's enough to really create a new product. You remember the slide earlier. That's enough to define the sweet spot that everyone feels. That's nice. Yeah. And this is good enough. But we help you to find the right approach for that. And what you see in between, that's a let's say setup, because it's a journey for us being a startup, and it takes longer. It's a journey. We are also happy to partner, and this is also how you should think about. I'm the partners around me for many years. It doesn't help you if you have a strong partner, like an accelerator. They're not around after a couple of months anymore. They say, wish you good luck, and then he's disappearing. But we are around for many years, as long as it's needed, as long as you want us to do. But if it's Nexaya or any other partner you find you might have, that's okay. It's the same thinking. When we talk about tailoring our setup, very simple. Taking the slide before, you see some of your ideas require a bit more capital. That's the one in the middle. Then we're happy to provide more capital to you, but supporting a bit less from the technology point of view. But also you have a situation where you need stronger partners, and whether know-how and capital is not really key or required, or we need in a situation more technical support. That's also the way you should think. What is really required for you? And that's one ecosystem coming from our side. If you have capital questions, know-how questions, talk to one of us. You get the answers in all your areas. If you have multiple partners, you have to answer them 3 times, because it's different partners. They are not talking to each other. That's a totally different story. And time also is key. It's not capital, it's also your time to really be able to go quickly to the market with your product. Just listing a few areas where you probably need help during your journey from the first idea to really becoming a successful company. That's just listing one thing. I don't want to go through all of that. You probably are more familiar with all the details. But it's also important that we are doing a lot more. We are a kind of company builder. When you do a startup, you also need to either talk to banks. You need to prepare some financial statements. There's a tax return required. You have legal questions. You say, I'm not the expert in legal questions. We can help you. So that's a kind of ecosystem when we talk about supporting a company builder. It's not only product management, UI, UX design, development, cybersecurity. It's a lot more but it's not key that you say, no, I don't need it all. I just need one thing. That's fine. Take the right partner. We can do all of that, but take the right partner to really define what is required for you. And this is also part of your journey. So this will change over time. It's not one thing you have to go through in the beginning. Do it again and again and challenge yourself. If you have a partner, ask the question, is it the right one? Because also during your journey, the requirement might change, and your partner also might change, because at one point he's not the right one, and then choose another one. You should be in control of your own idea, yeah, and align always your partners with your ideas so that they have the same agenda like you. And having the same agenda means, looks like a map of a public transport translated into startups and the investment world for capital support. Choosing the right partner means take the right lane, even if you start at the same train station. It depends on what train you're taking. Yeah, always try to find the track with the right train. So the ride starts way earlier if you do it just with the accelerator. He's helped you with a few things, but you're right. And also with venture capital and private equity, very often they are partner for some time, but very often when you need them most, they say, I need to sell you. They are not always on your side. They sell you not because they don't like you, they have a different agenda. Yeah? And choose the right partner. And we from Nexaya, we have a program which is called Nexaya Dynamics. This is exactly what I was talking about. So our journey will be much more, yeah? It takes longer, you get further, and we're at your side. So we're riding with you side by side for way longer. And that's, if it's Nexaya Dynamics, Alpina, or any other partner, it's key that you constantly ask yourselves, is it just the right track, the right partner? I want to do a long journey with my startup idea. That's in summary what we're doing. And as you can imagine, there's a lot more to talk about. I would be happy to share a few more thoughts, but we have, I think, half an hour. We're running towards the end. I don't know, are we able to take any questions, or are we tight in timing?
So my question would be, if I have an idea, I want to build a startup here in Morocco, because we seem to be a German company, right? So can we get support from you only on the technology side, or are you providing us also with money to build our application or solution? Or is it really like just you provide us with technology people and that's it? And also when I have an idea, right? So can you validate that my idea will be ready for the market here in Morocco so that it will be really successful, or I'm just wasting my time and money?
Thank you for your question. That's indeed a very important one. I was not making reference to that, but thanks a lot for the question. When you, obviously, I'm coming from Germany, yeah? That's easy. You say, okay, you're talking about very nice things, but it's, what can I do here in Morocco? We have our core in Germany, so we have seen a lot in Europe, but we are locally here in Morocco, yeah? We have an office in Rabat, so we're happy to help you locally. If you have questions, you can easily come to our offices, pop by, then we're more than happy to meet you either here in Casablanca or in Rabat or any other place. So we talk about, we are local internationals. Basically, we're trying to talk your language, even if I'm now talking in English. As mentioned at the beginning, we talk your language. We have also in the team multiple language skills, yeah? That's not a problem, and we're here on site. We're in Germany, in Morocco, in Egypt, in Nigeria, so we are all over the place to help you. We have a very, very nice coverage, and this is helping also you. When you have an idea, it's easy to talk to us, to continue to brainstorm. We're easy approachable, very easy, like we're here today. That's what we are also on a daily business. We have the office in Morocco and in Rabat. So happy to meet you there and brainstorm, even if you're not sure.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, Heiko. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this event. I'm so delighted that Nexaya company is being part of this event indeed.